Welcome, everyone. This is the Palos Verdes Democrats annual summer picnic. This is the 7th one we've done, but I think our hospitality chair outdid herself this year. I mean, I'm pretty sure no other Democratic club will have bubbles at their summer picnics, right? Pretty sure about that. Anyway, welcome. I want to recognize our hospitality chair who really outdid herself, and that's Anita Vaccaro. She's been working for months straight for this. And she has a number of helpers. I hope I can remember them all. We have Ann Stahl and Lorraine Beckman and Carrie Hart and Allison Phillips and Carol Moeller, and I'm sorry if I've forgotten somebody, but thank you all. Couldn't happen without you helping us out like this. And I'm going to turn the program over to our program chair, Ann Nye. She will introduce the speakers. And unfortunately, there are a number of candidates here today who won't be able to speak, but we're going to recognize them at least. So you'll know who they are. Thank you, and Ann Nye.
Okay, we have a lot of speakers today, and all the speakers know where they are on the speaking list. So, to save time, if you could come over here as we come down the speakers list, that would be really helpful to save time. Okay, so before we start with our surprise speaker today, Supervisor Hahn, I just want to do a couple notes. First of all, our Bubbles man, that's John Matson. I don't know where he went, but that was our Bubbles man. And our banjo musician was Jordan Bush. This is someone that we saw up at the Peninsula Farmers Market, or Anita saw, and he is a local Peninsula High School graduate. And he plays at the Peninsula Farmers Market every Sunday. Okay, is Supervisor Hahn coming down? There she is. Okay, well, so as you come down, I'm going to introduce you. Okay, so Supervisor Janice Hahn, we're fortunate to have her. This is a last minute, because you saw that she wasn't on any of our advertisements for the picnic, but things changed. And one of the things that changed was we were going to have Congressman Lee here, but he got a conflict and he had to not be here today. So, but then a couple of days ago, Supervisor Hahn said that she could be here. Yeah. She's now in her second term representing LA County's 4th District, resident of San Pedro, and she dropped by to join us. One of her most recent accomplishments, if you've been reading the news, has been to push the launch of the 988 mental health hotline in LA County. Yeah. So even though this rolled out across the country, if the local districts and communities don't fund it or push it, it doesn't go anywhere. But we have Supervisor Hahn.
Thank you. Hello, Democrats. It's always great to be with Democrats up here on the Hill, because there were some times when there was only a couple of us. So it's great to be here with everyone, and thank you for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here with you. You know, there's a lot for us to be angry about right now, and we should be angry, right? This far-right Supreme Court has come out with some decisions that are probably among the worst that they've ever issued. You know, the fact that they have struck down the right of a woman to choose what to do with her own body means, and by the way, I never dreamed that my daughters or my granddaughters would have less rights than me depending on where they lived in this country. It's shocking, it's unfortunate, and we need to fight back and resist. But I will say, aren't we lucky to be in LA County? Aren't we lucky to be in LA County and in California? Because in California, we are going to double down on a woman's right to choose. In LA County, we're going to be a safe harbor for women to be able to access a safe abortion no matter where they live. We're going to take them, even if they have to cross state lines, we will take them here in LA County and we will give them that right, which I believe they deserve. Also it's unfortunate that Republicans in Washington, D.C. have blocked any kind of legislation that would address climate change, right? Climate change, which is one of the #1 threats to planet Earth. I've been interested in watching the James Webb telescope and some of those photos that have come back, and we're so excited, and I am too, I can get excited, but it's interesting that we're so excited about what we see in the universe, and yet right here on planet Earth, we're under attack and we're under a huge threat with climate change. And Republicans have, and our good friend Joe Manchin, have blocked attempts to deal with that. So we need to raise our voices for our children and our grandchildren and make sure that we can address climate change. But you know what, in LA County, and thank you for mentioning that, I just always, when I come and talk to my fellow Democrats, I just want to say, I hope you're proud when you send Democrats to our local offices, when you send us to city councils, to school boards, to the LA County Supervisor's office. Because as you mentioned, 988, for too long, we have not been dealing with mental health crisis in the way we should. The only number that people have when they themselves, when one of their loved ones, if you see somebody on the street having a breakdown, the only number you've had is 911. And what happens with 911, right? Either the paramedics come and take this person to the emergency room, which could be a worse place to take somebody that's having a mental health breakdown, right? Loud, lights, you don't get the kind of help you need, or law enforcement shows up. And we know when law enforcement shows up to address a mental health crisis, sometimes it doesn't have a good ending. So 988, which I have been championing for a long time, will be an alternative number for people to finally call. And when you call 988 in LA County, it'll be answered by a live person who will assess the situation, and maybe they'll see that it's a medical emergency that paramedics can respond to, or maybe they'll see, maybe law enforcement does respond to it. But most likely, it'll be a team of mental health professionals that will roll out in a van to where this person is and give them the help that they need. So that will change how we deal with this. And the other thing, I hope you're happy and I hope you're pleased that you sent me to the County Board of Supervisors, is that in 2020, I woke up like a lot of people. And when the sheriff of LA County called us the woke left, I took that as a badge of honor, because I woke up and I finally understood the story of Bruce's Beach in Manhattan Beach. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I did not know that story existed right in our backyard. I thought all the racial discrimination atrocities happened in the South. I didn't know they happened right here in LA County. But when I found out that there was a piece of property in Manhattan Beach that was owned 100 years ago by a black couple, Willa and Charles Bruce, who only wanted a slice of the American dream, who only wanted to build a beach resort. By the way, for those of you who are too young to remember, there were times when African Americans were not allowed to enjoy a day at the beach right here in LA County. There were 2 beaches that they were allowed to enjoy, Manhattan Beach and Santa Monica Inkwell Beach. And they built the successful resort for black people who came, by the way, from all over California. But when the city of Manhattan Beach realized how successful it was and how many black people were enjoying a day at the beach, they tried every way they could to run this couple out of town. They harassed them. The KKK burned mattresses under their resort. And when that didn't work, the city council took their property by eminent domain and banished this couple to a life really of poverty and working for other people the rest of their lives. When I realized, finally, in 2020, that the pieces of property that was Bruce's resort now were owned by the County of Los Angeles, I did the most innocent, naive thing a person could do, and I said, can we give it back? And my county lawyers said, Supervisor Hahn, what is it that you want to do? I want to give it back. They said, well, nothing like this has ever happened in any government agency, in any municipality in the country that we're aware of. This is the first. I said, I think it's the right thing to do. Even though it was 100 years ago, I think we can right this wrong. Well, on the 20th, which is next Wednesday, we will finally be handing over the deed to the remaining heirs of the Bruce family at Manhattan Beach. And I think as Democrats, right, we got to tell the truth. We got to tell the stories. And I think that's what we're obligated to do. We can't always determine what's going to happen when we tell the truth. We can't always make people do the right thing. But I think it's up to us to be the truth tellers. And then let's see what happens. So tell the truth, lift up the stories, and elect Democrats to all these offices, because we're the ones, I think, that will say, let's right wrongs where we can right those wrongs. Thank you. Have a wonderful picnic.
All right. Okay, so before we get to our first speakers, I just want to recognize some of the elected officials that are in our audience today. So from West Basin Board of Directors, we have Harold Williams in the back. And we have Scott Houston. From Redondo Beach, we have Mayor Bill Brand. And former candidate for Torrance Mayor, we have Cliff Newmark, who's now running for his El Camino Community Board. Okay, and then just from one of the activist groups that we have with us is from the Torrance Refinery Action Alliance. We have Steve Goldsmith. And he has all these people, Steve Goldsmith, right there, but he has his flyers out on the back table. And I just want to say that I was at their last meeting. They have a 26-minute video that a young woman who got awards for, I'm not sure if it was for that video, but for something. But anyway, it's a great video about the Torrance Refinery, and it will be coming out public very soon. Okay, getting to our first speakers. Where are the other two? Here they come. Okay, there are 3 cities on the peninsula. We have Palos Verdes Estates, Rancho Palos Verdes, and Rancho
Rolling Hills Estates.
Rolling Hills Estates. Is that a brain fog? Okay, we had invited the PVE Mayor Pro Tem Jim Roos, whose term expires in 2024. He couldn't make it. Just want to let you know, but PVE City Council has 3 open seats in the next election. RPV City Council person, Eric Alegria, who is not up for re-election, is here to speak with us and will also relay a message from Rolling Hills Estates City Council member Debbie Stacora, who couldn't attend. RPV has 3 open seats in the November election, where one of them is termed out. 2 of the candidates for the RPV City Council are Paul Seo and Steve Perestrin. And they'll speak after Eric. So we'll first have Eric, and then we'll have Paul, and then Steve. So if they could line up.
All right. Thank you so much, Ann. I learned long ago not to follow Supervisor Hahn, but I'll certainly do my best. And Supervisor Hahn, I just want to acknowledge your work around mental health, because certainly even from an affluent community on the peninsula, mental health issues are affecting all of us. So we appreciate the work of the County Board of Supervisors as well.
Be really close to the mic.
So thank you for everyone for coming out. And I just real briefly, I want to recognize the organizers, because year after year, this is a wonderful event. So if you could just stick your hands up, those of you who, when I arrived, were working, sweating, and really toiling for us to have a wonderful event, please put your hands up and just be recognized. It's wonderful to be amongst friends. I want to briefly just acknowledge some things I'm proud of as it relates to the city of Rancho Palos Verdes and progress we've made over the last year plus. In the sort of realm of public safety, we've introduced new programs, new subsidy programs around security cameras for our HOAs in our neighborhoods to improve safety. We've maintained a balanced budget in spite of COVID, and it's nice to see even in our community, and I know many cities have been negatively affected by COVID, and the different revenue streams that come into cities and municipalities, and we've been able to brave through that and still have 10 years of projection of a positive and maintained a balanced budget in our city. We broke ground on our Ladera Linda community project. I mentioned that last year, but now we're actually implementing that project, so it's nice to see that slowly coming to fruition. We expect to open up the new facility in the summer of 23. And we introduced some concerts in the park, as well as, for the first time, ice skating by the sea. So if you didn't come this last year, I hope this coming year you'll come visit us and participate ice skating by the sea at the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. And we're completing some beautification and utility undergrounding throughout the community as well. More important work remains. We have a civic center project that we're working on, and I'd love to see that move forward over the next couple of years. And for those of you who enter our city from Western, you know there's an opportunity for us to make sure that we partner in a meaningful way with the City of Los Angeles as well as Caltrans to improve and beautify that corridor coming into the community. So we have focused in that as well. And I know Ann mentioned it, but there are elections in front of us, so really I'm here to implore you to help us through this election season. I want to start out by recognizing Chief Robert Luna. The other night we had a nice event at my home to recognize Chief Robert Luna. I know that our county will be in better hands with Robert Luna as our sheriff. So thank you, Chief, for your willingness to step forward, for your leadership, and for your willingness to come out and meet several of the electeds throughout the peninsula the other night as well. And then I want to recognize Paul Seo and Steve Perestrin. Paul is on our Civic Center Advisory Committee for the city and working on that very important project. And Steve is a planning commissioner for the city. Both gentlemen exhibit the values and the policy positions that I think will help thrust our city forward. And I would love to see them both get elected, so please help me get them elected this coming fall. And then finally, I'll transition to reading my friend and colleague Debbie Stagora's statement to all of you this evening, since she was unable to make it. The office of council member in Rolling Hills Estates, like all cities on the peninsula, is nonpartisan. Nonetheless, we've accomplished several things this year that we feel are just good plain policy. For example, Rolling Hills Estates partnered with Southern California Edison to install 6 more dual-port EV chargers at City Hall for public use. Also partnered with Cal Water to save water at City Hall and parts of High Ridge Park by applying for a rebate to tear out grass and install low-water, drought-tolerant garden scheme. Was the first city in the Clean Power Alliance, which offers environmentally sound, clean electricity sources for home and commercial customers. And this year, RHE established a 100% clean energy level for commercial electricity customers in RHE as well. In addition, they project a 7% budget surplus for 22-23, and Debbie ends by saying local elections matter. I would certainly agree. Run for something, get involved, and help the candidates that are going to support the values that we all stand steadfastly next to. So thank you. And finally, a big thank you to the appointed boards this evening. You have an important duty to take our party forward. And I implore you, in addition to being the voice of truth, as the supervisor said, to being a unifying voice that can provide that leadership that our country and our community so desperately needs to move forward. So thank you very much. And I think Paul,
Yes.
No,
please.
they're behind you.
Oh, right behind me.
Yeah.
Please join me.
Hello, fellow Democrats. How's everybody doing today? I think I have a very short amount of time, so before we get started, with Ann's blessing, hey, turn to your neighbors, your left and your right, and say hello. So my name is Paul Say. I'm running for Rancho Palos Verdes City Council, and the reason why I did that was because that's the reason why we enter public service, is because of the people to your left and to your right. They're your neighbors, they're your family members, they're the people that go to restaurants, the same restaurants you do. Your children go to the same schools, we shop at the same places. In the morning we say, hi, have a good day at work. When we come home, they say, hey, how was your day? That's the most important thing. That's why we do what we do. Now, the reason I'm running is because I want to show that our local issues, the things that impact our quality of life, are local issues that transcend national politics as well as party ideology. I'm a Democrat myself, but when we look at our neighbors, we're just human beings. And one of the things, or three of the things that I want to focus on in our community, especially in RPV, is community safety, maintaining our open spaces so that we are good stewards of the natural resources we have here. If you guys came up here and you guys are from here, we have a lot of beautiful land around our area. I think it should be well funded and maintained. A lot of individuals use those trails, parks, facilities, and we have to preserve that for our future generations. And lastly is making smart and deliberate choices of what we do and what we invest in our capital infrastructure projects, i.e. sustainable energy, electrification, what's coming, right? Cell phone reception, I know a lot of you guys probably don't have it right now, but that's an infrastructure issue. So those are things that I'd like to focus on, and not in that specific order, but those are the things that I'm running on, and I think that should be improved. Now, my parents came here in the late 70s.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to make you go shorter.
All right, I'll go.
Okay.
Give me 30 seconds. My parents came here in the late 80s, and my father worked down in San Pedro at Todd's Shipyard. He came here, he ran a store. In the late 80s, he took a bullet in the shoulder, and in 92, that store burned down. One thing that he taught me, or a couple of things that he taught me, was forgiveness, grit, empathy, perseverance, and public service. So I entered public service. I went to West Point, served in the Army, came back, and I dedicated myself to public service for the rest of my life. And that's why I'm running for city council now, and I hope that I can, in the next coming days and months, earn your support, earn your trust, and eventually your vote on November 8th. Thank you so much. My name is Paul Say. I'm running for Rancho Palos Verdes City Council.
Hi, my name's Steve Parisham, and I'm also running for City Council in the city of Rancho Palos Verdes.
Go closer to the mic.
Closer. Eric's sort of my role model in this. He's been watching him run and manage our city for the last 6 years now, and we've just grown closer and closer over that amount of time. He stands for the right things, and I'm hearing Paul stands for the same things, and here I am following them, and I stand for the same things, the same issues. Local elections are local. They need to be local. They're different, and when you talk to your neighbors, regardless of party, you find out that usually you have the same opinion as your neighbors. I've been around for 40 years, couple months short of 40 years, and in Rancho Palos Verdes, and I find out I have very little differences when I'm in a discussion about our city. We're in pretty good shape financially. We have a huge responsibility for checking on a couple of issues in front of us, like Palos Verdes Drive South and the Civic Center, which was mentioned earlier. But that's our challenge, and that's a good thing, because we're in good financial shape, and the management of that is critical to the success and the future of our city. So I don't differ with the two gentlemen speaking before me. I just want to join Eric, and hopefully Paul and I will be able to do that. And so I look for your support in November and appreciate you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you.
All right, next up, please welcome Palos Verdes Unified School District Board members Rick Phillips and Ami Gandhi and candidate Sarah Dean. There are 4 out of 5 of the PVUSD seats up for election. 4 out of 5. Rick Phillips and Ami Gandhi are 2 of them, and Sarah Dean is in her first contest for a seat. So here they are. Rick, are you going? Set it up first. Rick,
Thank you all. Thank you for inviting me back for I think the 3rd time now. I appreciate all your support in 2018 when I was first elected after being appointed to the board in February. But what's really important is that you support both. You gotta go both mics, because both mics. Sorry, both okay. Mics, one mic. It's really important that you support both Ami Gandhi and Sarah Dean, because they are first-time candidates. And as Ann said, this is a really important election. 4 out of 5 seats are up for election on the board, and that is essentially the balance of power in this school district. So it's very important that we have reasonable people on the board so that we have reasonable policies. When I joined the board, there was no COVID. That wasn't an issue. But what did I spend the last 2 years of my life dealing with was how to manage COVID responsibly in the schools. Not only that, we still have to maintain academic excellence. So it's been a top priority of mine. And this year, I'm really happy that my friends, Al Marisucci, Ben Allen, have sent a ton of money our way so that we actually have a balanced budget for the first time that I've been on the board. We've also increased the transparency. When I joined the board, when the board wanted to do something that wasn't well publicized, they had a special meeting and you couldn't find the videotape of that. You now can find the videotapes of all our special meetings, just like our regular meetings, on our website for 4 years. Mental health. Thank you, Janice, for helping implement PAT 988 around the nation and the county. Just yesterday, I was at a Walk for Life in memory of Kevin Sasaki, who died from bipolar disorder. The statistics on bipolar disorder are terrible. 40% attempt suicide, and 20% of bipolar people actually succeed. We need to get those numbers down. Unfortunately, I have another memorial event to go to on Monday for a recent PV High alum. And this is really something that we need to address, not just in the school system, but throughout our community. So with that, I'm going to encourage you to vote for Ami and Sarah and turn it over to them.
I'm going to hand over 2 microphones. Okay, let's get everything put back. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's so great to be here today. My name is Ami, and I'm one of the current PVP USD. Can't hear? I think you're too next to each other. Like that?
let's just go really close. Kiss them. Hello. Yeah, you got to kiss.
Okay. Hello. My name is Ami Gandhi, and I'm one of the current PVP USD board members. As I look into the audience, I see so many familiar faces, and it reminds me of being here last year speaking at this event. And I had just a few months prior to that, I had been appointed to the board. And when I was here, the issue that was front and center was getting our kids back in school. So standing here a year later, I am so proud to say that our kids were back in school for the entire year uninterrupted. Now, Rick talked about this, but getting kids back to school definitely came with a few challenges, one of them being the mental health concerns of our students. So this year, we increased our counseling services for all students in the district. Now, another challenge that the pandemic brought with it was the learning loss due to the pandemic. And so this year, PVP USD offered free tutoring for all students in the district. And this is really unique because we're the only district in the South Bay that was able to offer free tutoring for all students. Now, looking forward to the next year, I'm really excited. I look forward to putting our kids first, and I look forward to continuing our legacy of having PVP USD ranked #1 in the South Bay. I look forward to continuing to put our kids and their mental health needs and their academic needs front and center. So as I stand here today, I leave you with one promise: to be open-minded, to put our kids first, and to always listen. Being a mother of 2 young kids in the district, I understand that nobody is more invested in our kids and their education than our parents and the community. I humbly ask for you to vote for me, and I give you my word that I will continue to be your representative and to make sure that your voice matters. Thank you so much.
Talk to both.
Hello, hello. Is that good?
Not really loud.
No.
It's too loud.
Okay. This doesn't count as my 2 minutes, right? Are they working now? Okay, good afternoon, Democrats. It is awesome being out here with so many dear friends. I'm so grateful to be here. My name is Sarah Dean, and I'm running for school board in Palos Verdes. My husband, our 2 kids, we settled here in 2014, and we are so happy to be here with you all. I'm initially trained as a dentist through our public schools here. I retired from teaching advanced dentistry at UCLA 5 years ago to focus working with our youth, advocating for the most vulnerable, and to build bridges across communities with the South Coast Interfaith Council. As a family, we have really enjoyed the incredible school district. We've also run into some of the challenges. In fact, I really hit a wall with one of my kids a few years ago. I didn't know how to access the special support.
You gotta talk right into the mic.
Okay. I wasn't familiar with the support and the tools out there to support kids who learn differently. I had no idea what a 504 was, had no idea what an IEP was, and so I hesitated pursuing these tools, and my kid really suffered. So I'm hoping to work with the school district to demystify and destigmatize pursuing special help when our kids don't fit into the box, and frankly, whose kid fits into that little tiny box. Secondly, too many of the youth I'm working with are desperately hopeless, struggling with anxiety, as was mentioned before. Addictions and self-harm are becoming way too prevalent. We still do not have the recommended number. Sorry? Okay. We don't have
You have to talk right into it. Don't look at them. Right into the mic.
I'm going to ignore the germs that are on the mic here for a second.
I mean, don't touch it.
We still don't have the recommended number of mental health specialists at our middle and public schools. And then the pandemic hits on top of all this. So my husband and I, we jumped in to help, serving on as many committees that would take us with the school district, and quickly realized that it takes artful diplomacy and communication to get the things on the agenda that will answer the questions and concerns of the community. It also, if you don't have an informed citizenry, if the public doesn't know what's going on, the school district will never have the resources that we really need to meet our kids' needs. So I'm deciding to take it up another notch and stepping up to run for school board. I do my homework, I work hard, I listen even when it really hurts. I push myself to evolve so that I can be a better community member and teammate. My work for the last few years has really centered on conflict resolution and building consensus in the nonprofit space. So I'm hoping to bring those skills to the school district so we can make good things happen for our kids. And our school district really is facing an existential crisis. Usually a candidate stands up and says, please support me and vote for me. Today I'm saying our children's future is on the line this November. Please support everybody that's here, everybody that's left of center, win school board seats. That means showing up to canvass. It means contributing funds if you have them, putting up lawn signs. This next 4 months is going to be critical for our kids and our future. Thank you so much. You can sign up to volunteer with my campaign, Sarah Dean for Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. Thank you so much. All right.
Before I get into our next speaker, I did want to announce something. In our September meeting for the Palos Verdes Dems, I didn't talk about our next meetings, but just because we are going to be talking about schools, September 18th, it will be on our website, but we will be having a what's happening with our schools focus meeting with these candidates and with other people, counselors, teachers, union people, in a panel discussion at our September 18th meeting. And just as a reminder, we always have an annual August meeting that goes over the Supreme Court decisions, and there's a lot to talk about. So we have our LA Superior Court Judge Tom Long, who will be helping to review the UCI Irvine summary of all those decisions. So that will be August 21st. So that will be on our website. All right, so moving on to our next featured speaker. We are fortunate to have LA County Sheriff candidate Robert Luna, the former Long Beach Police Chief, to come speak with us. So oddly, Robert Luna's Long Beach Police Chief predecessor was Jim McDonald, who was defeated by Villanueva 4 years ago. At that time, no one thought an incumbent sheriff could be beaten, and regretfully, the Democrats supported the wrong candidate. This time, we're hoping to get it right. Please welcome Robert Luna.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. I always start off by saying thank you to each and every one of you who took the time away from whatever you can do on a Sunday to come out here to listen to each and every one of us. And that is critical. For my race running against the incumbent at LA County Sheriff's, this is what I tell people. If you're tired of the dysfunction, you're tired of the chaos, the scandals, and all the allegations of corruption, and you want change, I represent that change. So you're looking at a grown man here who dreamt of being a police officer from an early age of 5 or 6 years old, growing up in unincorporated East Los Angeles, not speaking English until I went to school. I witnessed a lot of social inequity and injustice. I ended up on the hood of a sheriff's car on many occasions growing up. And so you say, hey, there you are now running for LA County Sheriff. It's the first uniform I saw as a kid at grade school. So my journey took me to Long Beach. I spent 36 years of my career or my life serving the people, the residents of Long Beach, worked a variety of assignments, got promoted through every rank. I spent over 20 years in executive positions, and now I am running to be your sheriff. Why? Because I have a vision of a sheriff's department that actually works for our community. A sheriff's department that, when I talk about 21st century policing, is focused on forward thinking, open to change. And guess what? Appearing before oversight when they're subpoenaed for deputy gangs and all these other things that are going on. So I'm going to be around. I'd like to talk to you more about my plan, my vision for the sheriff's department. But for now, I really need you to go out and vote. I would love to earn your support for November 8th. You got to get out there. The only way we're going to create the change that we need is for you to get fully engaged and involved. So again, my name is Robert Luna, and I want to be your sheriff. Thank you very much.
All right. We're back on time. Okay, our next speaker was supposed to be Sergio Carrillo. And I'm going to introduce actually LA City Council District 15 candidate Tim Mccosker, and he's going to let you know what happened. Here's Tim.
Good afternoon, Democrats. How's everybody today? Great? So very, very briefly, our dear friend and our LA CDP Vice President, Sergio Carrillo, was supposed to speak in this very spot. So you lost out. You got me instead. But let's think about Sergio. Sergio wanted to be here, and he wanted to give you a short report, but he had a family death. So he's actually in Mexico City, and he is saying goodbye to his dear cousin. So let's keep him in our thoughts, and let's hope that he comes back safe and sound. We want him back because he's our LA CDP vice chair. I want him back because he's actually my campaign manager. And he's a great campaign manager. And I'm running, my name is Tim Mccosker. I'm running for City Council, CD 15. I am your brother just down the hill. We have a beautiful district, CD 15. It's San Pedro, Wilmington, Harbor City, Harbor Gateway, and Watts. And it's a great challenge to be a council member in this day and age. It's also a great challenge because I would be following, once removed, the great Janice Hahn, who's here. Let's hear it for Janice Hahn, who has endorsed me, although she forgot to call that out. So I am very, very, very excited to be with fellow Democrats. It is so important for us to stick together. We are living in a time when our democracy is under attack. We are living at a time when our democracy is under attack, when women's rights to choose are under attack, when reasonable gun regulation is under attack, when solid environmental protections are under attack. It is so important for us locally and at every level to elect Democrats to make sure that we are sticking up for the future, for our present, but for our future, for our children and our children's children. So I'm really, really pleased to be a partner with you in this. And please remember Tim Mccosker in November, CD 15, LA City Council. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, he had it really high. All right, our next suite of speakers, our suite of let you know about them, is having people, Los Angeles Superior Court judge candidates who made it through the June 7th primary and made their top 2. So our featured speaker today is Melissa Hammond. She's in seat 118. She received the top vote in her seat. Just to note, the LACDP endorsed candidate didn't make the top 2. So Melissa, you can't hear me? Okay. So Melissa Hammond, she made the, this one? Hello. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so Melissa Hammond, she made the top 2. She was the top vote getter. She is the member of Palos Verdes Democrats. This mic. Okay. I'll go. Anyway, the LACDP endorsed candidate didn't make the top 2. So Melissa is here to speak to us. Also, LA Superior Court Judge candidate Melissa Lyons, 2 Melissas. She's seat 90. She got the top vote. And she just recently got endorsed by the LACDP. There's 3 other candidates here. And so I will introduce them after Melissa talks.
Hi everybody, can you hear me? No? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, let me know if you can't hear me.
Try to do both though,
okay.
But that one too. Because those people.
Oh. Okay, well I'll try anyway. Hi, I'm Melissa Hammond. I'm running for Superior Court Judge, Office 118. It's wonderful to be here with all of you, Palos Verdes Democrats. I'm a member of this club, and thank you, Ann, for letting me speak. I am running for judge because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is because I have wanted to be a judge for pretty much my entire life. My dad is a criminal defense attorney and used to take me all around with him to all the courts and jails of Los Angeles. And so since I was a little girl, I've wanted this time in my life to be here. So I'm so excited that it's finally here and that I'm with all of you, making it happen, making my dreams come true. So that's very exciting for me. And also, I'm running for judge because I believe that at this point in my career, I have the right perspective and well-rounded legal career to be a good judge for my community. I've lived in Los Angeles my entire life. I've been a Democrat my entire life, and I really feel like I can make a difference based on my legal experience, which is, first of all, I've been a deputy district attorney for over 14 years, and I currently work in the Torrance Courthouse where I handle the felonies that arise out of this area as well as the beach cities. But I've also been a public defender.
You gotta move the mic up.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. I've also been a public defender. So I've been a deputy district attorney for over 14 years as well as a deputy public defender in Los Angeles County. And I've also been a civil litigator. So I have all of that experience. It's very well-rounded. And because of that experience, I earned the endorsement of the Los Angeles Times, and I got a well-qualified rating from the Los Angeles County Bar Association, which is the highest rating an attorney can get from the Bar Association. Thank you. Now, when I first started this race for seat 118, I had 5 opponents, and 3 of them were rated well-qualified like myself, and 2 were rated not qualified by the bar. And the one I ended up on the runoff with is rated not qualified by the Bar Association, believe it or not. So it's really important that I have all of your support. Please spread the word about my campaign, Melissa Hammond for Judge, Office 118. If you can donate, that would be great, but just spread the word is most important. And I also just want to say that it's really important to make sure there's well-qualified judges on the bench. It's so important, the qualification. The LA County Bar does a very thorough job vetting people, and especially right now, we have a lot of issues with crime, as you know. There's a lot of smash and grabs in the area. There's a big homeless issue going on as well, and it's very important that we have judges who know how to balance the public safety, the victim's rights, against the rights of the accused. And being from my background, where I've been a public defender and a DA, and I'm also in a court right now where I resolve serious and violent felonies. That's what I do. I handle them so I can, I balance those things every day. It's a natural stepping stone to the bench, and we have other judicial candidates here who also received well-qualified ratings and are well-qualified for the bench. Abby Barron is in seat 60, and Renee Chang is in seat 70, and Fernanda Barreto is in seat 67. So I'm looking forward to Ann introducing all of them as well. And thank you so much for listening to me speak. I really appreciate it, and please support me, Melissa Hammond, for seat 118. Thank you. Thanks, Ann.
All right. You do have to kiss these things, I think. All right. So we have several other candidates here, so if you could stand up so people could know who you are when I say your name. Fernanda Maria Barreto, she's seat 67. It's in the back. She came in second to the LACDP endorsed candidate Elizabeth Lashley Haynes. By the way, all these candidates who are here today are in different seats. Thank goodness. Renee Chang, seat 70. Renee Chang. Okay, she's down here. She came in second to the LACDP endorsed candidate Holly Hancock. And Abby Barron, seat 60. She's in the back. She got the top vote. This seat doesn't have an LACDP endorsement. All right, so there's a lot of people running for these judicial seats, and they all need your support. All right, our next speaker is Jeannie Lee. She represents California Congressional District 45 candidate Jay Chen. Now, Jay was supposed to be here, but because he's in such an important district, they flew him out to DC today for training to make sure he wins his district. So Jeannie Lee is here and is here to speak about his election.
Hi everyone, can you all hear me okay? Awesome. So as Ann said, my name is Jeannie, my pronouns are she, they, and I'm the organizing director for the 45th District. A lot of you here are probably wondering why someone from the 45th District is here today, because that is not your district. But that's because the 45th is one of the few races that we can flip in the House in order to maintain our majority. This is a super important race. I want to start by just kind of listing a few of the no votes that our opponent, Michelle Steele, has done recently. I don't like to badmouth people, so I'm just going to list some facts. They have recently voted no against the Ensuring Access to Abortion Act, against the Consumer Fuel Price Gouging Prevention Act, against the LGBTQIA+ Data Inclusion Act, as well as the Federal Firefighters Fairness Act, which is a legislation that was supposed to provide support for firefighters who suffer through different diseases due to their work, occupational hazard. So these are just few of the major and most recent reasons why Michelle Steele needs to be taken out of office. But furthermore, I want to talk about why we need Jay Chen in office. Jay is a Taiwanese American and a veteran, and as a veteran and a father, he strongly believes in his support for universal background checks, in banning assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines. And for me, as a young woman, I'm proud to say that Jay not only supports in an individual's rights to choose, but also that he believes in expanding parental leave, in providing co-pay-free contraception for all, as well as doing other things that we need in the House in order to provide low-cost and affordable health care and mental health services. These are just a few of the many reasons why I'm super happy to be here today. For those of you, most of you actually don't know me, but I am 22. I just graduated from UC Irvine recently, and this is what I am spending my time doing because I believe in this candidate, and I think that this is an extremely important race. This is a toss-up because Michelle Steele has been an incumbent for generations now in Orange County and LA, which means that we need all the help that we can get. We need all of you to come canvass to us, to come donate, to come phone bank from your home. California's 45th actually has a little bit of LA. We have Cerritos, Artesia, Hawaiian Gardens, and a little bit of Lakewood. So we are not that far away from you all. It took me about 40 minutes to get here from my home in Fullerton. And then we also have a lot of individuals here from Indivisible South Bay LA who are canvassing with us once a month, every month, and phone banking for us weekly. These are things that we really need in order for you all to help us win. Politico just put Jay up as a toss-up race, which means that this is a field margin now, which means that every single door that you are knocking is super crucial, and that's why I'm happy to have Carol here to talk about her experience as a volunteer.
Hi, Hi, I'm Carol, and I am the activism chair for PV Dems. And in addition to our local school board elections and Rancho Palos Verdes City Council, we have made Jay Chin's campaign a priority because it is a toss-up, and we need to flip that seat. We need to get crazy people out of Congress who believe, who are perpetrating the big lie. And we need candidates who believe in gun safety. And so that's why, to me, this is a doable race, but it's not going to happen without people reaching out to the independents and reaching out to moderate Republicans so that we can make Jay a viable candidate to them. So we need your help. I have a sign-up sheet at the activism table, and I hope that you will join us in working for Jay. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is LA County Assessor Jeffrey Prang. He's been to our picnic a number of times, and he has the notoriety of that he won his June 7 primary at over 50%. He won it. He doesn't have to go for a runoff. However, that said, I don't know if you saw the news, but Senator Ben Allen won too, but he had a write-in candidate. He has to go to the runoff.
No kidding.
So just letting you know that those who celebrated that night, he was the only candidate. But the rules are the write-in candidate got so many votes, very right-wing candidate, so he's in the runoff. But anyway, we're here to talk with Jeffrey Prang and taxes.
Thank you very much, Ann. Not sure how this microphone thing works, but I'll try to go with it. And Ann, I did want to say it's no problem that you put me at the end of the speakers list. I'm sure it will have no impact whatsoever on your assessment. But I'm thrilled to be here. I think I was the second choice, but she told me she couldn't get the mosquito commissioner, so I'll do the best I can do to liven things up in a way that only the county property tax assessor can do. First, let me say thank you to everyone who helped me win this election. You need 50% plus one in a countywide race to avoid a runoff. I got 50.15% out of one. People tell me all the time, I don't need to do all these community events and talk to people, but when you win by 1,000 votes, it's because you show up every year at the picnic here on the peninsula. I'm not going to do a rally for Democrats today because everybody here doesn't need to be rallied. They're all committed Democrats who are going to do what is necessary to win in November. But let me just give you a couple of notes about things going on in the assessor's office. The first thing, you've probably heard me say this before, I will say it till I'm done with this job. I don't collect taxes. The guy who collects taxes has a very intuitive title. He's called the tax collector. I do property valuation. I don't do rates and I don't do collections. But what I could say about that, a couple points of interest and good news. One is we just completed our annual work of developing what we call the assessment roll. That's the inventory of all taxable property of the county. Property values increased over 6% this year, almost double what they did last year. Bad news if you're trying to buy a house. Really good news if you're a member of the Board of Supervisors or a school board and want more money in your budget. So, and it came in a little bit stronger than we thought. Janice, you're welcome. Secondly, I want to tell you about a program that I developed last fall that I rolled out that I'm very, very proud of. So every year, I need to hire about 35 real estate appraisers, and they have to go through a very intensive training program in order to do the job. Seems like I need to hire 30 a year, and then every year 40 retire. So it's really difficult. So I wanted to find a way to fill these positions. So I developed a program with local community colleges, West LA College, Rio Hondo College, and Mount San Antonio College, where we are going to move all of our training for potential skilled positions in our office out of the government and into the community colleges where they can actually train more people than we need, where we can provide, and we all know that people who attend community colleges are people who would find a job in government to be a transformative, life-changing opportunity. We graduated our first two classes out of West LA and Rio Hondo College. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I think it is an opportunity to develop a workforce development program where we can satisfy the needs of a government agency while providing jobs in the community. If I've done anything good in my time as assessor, I think this is it. I'm terribly proud of it, and I'm really proud to report that to you. But I'm really thrilled to be. Thank you. I am really thrilled to be back here. I've come to this event every year for the last 8 years. I think this is one of the best Democratic events in LA County, and thank you for inviting me back, and thank you for letting me speak every year. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, our final speaker tonight, Assembly Member Al Mertsucci, representing our 66th Assembly District, is a longtime South Bay resident who has taken the lead in Sacramento championing environmental justice programs. Representative Mertsucci is here to address us and also afterwards to provide the oath of office to our slate of officers for the 2022-2023 year. So here is Al.
All right. Good evening, Democrats. You know, first and foremost, before I do any of my other duties, let's give a round of applause to Ann Nye for her leadership as the president of the Palos Verdes Democrats this year. I was asked to do my official duties, but before I swear in the new incoming officers and the board members, am I breaking in and out? Am I okay with the mic? Okay. I want to just first of all, I know you heard from so many great candidates here today, and I think that really is testament to, you know, the value and the importance of the Palos Verdes Democratic Club. You know, I think it goes without saying, but to have this, you know, so many candidates come before from near and far, not only your local candidates, but from other parts of LA County, it just shows the importance and the power and the influence of this Palos Verdes Democratic Club. And so I think you should give yourselves a round of applause here. So next, I was asked to give a brief, very brief, because I know you heard from many candidates, but an overview of what's been happening in our state. But before I do that, I want to emphasize, the obvious, that elections matter, and that we're seeing, the consequences of elections with the series of horrific decisions that have been coming from the United States Supreme Court. As Tim Mccosker said earlier, our democracy is under attack. And so, I know this crowd, it goes without saying to emphasize the importance of elections, from our local school board races to our state races, our city council races, our county races, and of course our federal races. Starting with the local, I've been living with my wife and daughter in Palos Verdes for the past 7 years. I've had the privilege of sending our daughter to a local Palos Verdes school. And, as a parent, as a Palos Verdes parent, in many ways for me, no election is more important than to elect good, reasonable people to the Palos Verdes School Board. And so I'm here proudly in support of Ami Gandhi. Where did Ami go? Up there, okay, Ami Gandhi and Sarah Dean. I'm also hoping that Rick Phillips is going to be running for re-election, and I'm going to keep working on Rick because he's done an amazing job as a Palos Verdes School Board member. But let me just say this, as a parent, we saw during the pandemic how important it is to have people that believe in science, people that believe in common sense things like wearing masks, like getting vaccinated, and we have an anti-mask, anti-vaccination majority that's trying to take over the Palos Verdes School Board. And so it is so important that each and every one of you vote for Ami Gandhi, Sarah Dean, and I'm hoping Rick Phillips for Palos Verdes School Board. I don't want to go through all the elections. There are so many great candidates that have spoken already. Just real quick plug, because of redistricting, my new district, I'm running for re-election. Thank you very much for your support of the primary. Hope to continue to represent Palos Verdes in the state legislature. But my new district goes from El Segundo down through half of San Pedro. And, great communities. I'm so excited to pick up El Segundo and San Pedro. I'm unfortunately going to be losing Harbor City and Harbor Gateway, but it is, continues to be a true South Bay district, and I hope to continue to have the privilege of representing you. I'm proud to support Tim Mccosker for LA City Council, and I look forward to working with Tim. So, as we saw in the recent horrific decisions from the U.S. Supreme Court, whether it's a woman's right to choose, whether it's California's ability to pass common sense gun safety laws, or whether it's about our global fight against the climate crisis, we know that elections matter. And we know that when Donald Trump was running in 2016, and we were all talking about how if we don't defeat Donald Trump, that Roe versus Wade was going to be overturned. Well, surprise, surprise. I mean, that should not have been a surprise to anyone. I don't think it was a surprise to anyone in this audience, but unfortunately it was a surprise for too many people, especially those people that did not vote. And so that is why, again, it is so important that we turn out to vote in this upcoming November election. Here in California, we're going to continue to be the leader in the country, whether it's in the fight for a woman's right to choose. You will have an opportunity to vote in the November ballot. Proposition 1. Proposition 1 is going to enshrine a woman's right to choose in the California Constitution. Make sure to turn out for that. Gun control, the recent Supreme Court decision, there's still a lot of legal challenges that are going to be opened up because of that awful, awful Supreme Court decision that's, continues to refer back to this increasingly irrelevant past where, they didn't have AR-15s back when our country was founded, and they didn't have the semi-automatic weapons that are killing so many people in our communities. We need to continue to fight for common sense gun safety laws. I'm proud to support every single bill that the Brady campaign and other gun safety campaigns have supported. We need to continue for California's leadership. And last but certainly not least, climate crisis. I mean, I know I've been working with, your local leaders like Connie Sullivan. I know there are folks from Climate Action Lobby here. I look forward to continue to work with them to not only be a supporter, but a leader in Sacramento, in our state capital, in the fight against the climate crisis. And so now, last but not least, to wrap it up, again, elections matter, and I want to say, how, to end on a positive note, how I have experienced the progress right here in our backyards in Palos Verdes. 10 years ago, when I first ran for the state assembly, I did not win a single city on the Hill. That's Rancho Palos Verdes, Rolling Hills Estates, Palos Verdes Estates. This past primary, I won 3 of the 4 Palos Verdes cities. Now that's progress there. I know I'm still working on all those Republicans that live in Rolling Hills, about the 1,000 voters there. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm going to keep working on them. But that, shows the progress that we have made, not only nationally at the state level, but here at the local level. And that's why I want to end with where I began, by bringing it back to the importance of local elections. We have an opportunity to get 2 Democrats on the Rancho Palos Verdes City Council, electing Paul Seo to the Rancho Palos Verdes City Council. Let's give it up for Paul there. And again, although Palos Verdes school board elections are not partisan, again, it's important that we have common sense people that are going to protect our kids, protect our families, like Ami Gandhi and Saradeen. And so with that, I think that was more than my allotted 2 minutes, but I would like to conduct.
You didn't do your joke about Ted Lieu.
Oh, and it's reminding me, I didn't do my joke about Ted Lieu, and so I'll do it now. It's it's a badge of honor for me that wherever I go, especially in the South Bay, that I'm mistaken for Ted Lieu. And I always take it as a compliment because I know that my values and Ted's values are so much aligned on our democratic values. But I know last year, I think the last picnic, Ted Lieu did the official swearing in the oath of office for your incoming Palos Verdes school board members. And so, I'm here this year. Don't confuse me for Ted, but it is my honor to introduce your incoming president, Connie Sullivan. Connie's back for another tour of duty. First vice president, please come on down when I call your name. Carrie Hart, first vice president. Second vice president, Ann Nye. Corresponding secretary, Ann Stahl. Recording secretary, Casey Crow. Treasurer, Al Shadbourne. Parliamentarian, Carol Moeller. Newsletter editor, Nancy Silver. Webmaster, Reggie Jew. Publicity, Nancy Silver. Hospitality, Kathy Bradford. Activism, Carol Schwartz. And LACDP liaison, John Munoz. Does that cover? Yeah, that is it. Okay.
I'm publicity. You missed my name.
Okay.
Okay. I'm newsletter.
Allison Phillips is the publicity chair. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you. That was me then. Sorry about that.
All right. Officers and board members of the Palos Verdes Democrats, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear? I'm going to break it up so it's short and easy.
Do you solemnly swear
that you will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the California,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that you take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that you will well and faithfully discharge
and you will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which you are about to enter,
the duties upon which I am about to enter,
and during such time as you hold the office
and during such time as I hold the office,
as officers and board members of the Palos Verdes Democrats.
as officers and board members of the Palos Verdes Democrats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Palos Verdes Democrats.
Was I not supposed to break it over?
Wow, is that an oath or what? I mean, really. A few words. I want to present a little token of our appreciation to our outgoing president, Kathy Bradford. Where are you, Kathy? So we have a plaque in grateful appreciation for her outstanding leadership and guidance as president of the Palos Verdes Democrats from 2020 to 2022, presented to Kathy Bradford. And a gift certificate to one of her favorite restaurants. This is from our board.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for what you've done for the last 2 years. It's not easy being president, by the way. I know this. I know. Yes. They're making sure that you know that club funds did not pay for this wonderful gift. The board members paid for it. Do you want to say a few words? No? No? Okay. She doesn't want to say a few words. She's a woman of few words. Everybody asked me what my vision is for the coming year, and you've already seen it, and that is the activism chair that we established. And Carol Schwartz is the perfect person for that job. She is indefatigable, and she will be reminding people to get out there and vote, reminding people to sign up to help Sarah Dean and Ami Gandhi, because we have this terrible school board election that we're facing, and we recognize that. And also to help candidates up and down the state, and maybe a few in Arizona and places like that. So we're planning on getting more active, and we're hoping you guys will get more active with us. So that's what I plan for this coming year. Thank you all so much for coming and making this another wonderful year. Thank you so much.